Semantics is a study of meaning, but where does that meaning come from? Looking at any boring sentence, we could say that the meaning of a sentence is derived from the meaning of its parts. This principle is called the rule of compositionality. But it's a little more complicated than just the words in the sentence. Let's look at the sentence, "He likes the apple." If the meaning just came from the words in the sentence, "He likes the apple" would have the exact same meaning as "the apple likes he," even though it's clear that the latter sentence makes no sense. Compositionality is kind of like math. There is an order of operations in math that dictate how numbers in an equation interact. If we have the numbers 2, 3, and 5, we can put them together in many ways to get many different answers. 5 times 2 plus 3 is 13, but 2 times 3 plus 5 is just 11. When talking about language, relationships between words in a sentence play a huge role in creating meaning. This is where syntax comes in. Let's use the same sentence this time. He likes the apple. Now, we assign each meaning in the word a variable, M1, M2, M3, M4. Now, we'll combine the meaning based on their syntax rather than just the words. The noun phrase, "the apple," is just words, so its meaning is simply the combination of the meanings M3 plus M4 in that order. Now, we assign a new meaning to that noun phrase, M5. Look at the verb phrase. It is the combination of the meanings of the verb like, M2, and the noun phrase, M5. We can call the new meaning of the verb phrase M6. Then, the overall meaning of the sentence is M1, which is the initial noun phrase, plus M6, that combine to create M7, the meaning of the sentence. We can also look at more complex sentences, and trees make this much easier. For this example, we will add a prepositional phrase to the end of our previous sentence. Following the same procedure, we can see that the meaning arises from each constituent group laid out in the trees and the syntactical rules used to join them. From this tree, it's clear that compositionality will scale well to more complex sentences and will work for sentences larger than this tree. To recap, according to the rule of compositionality, the meaning of a sentence is determined by the meaning of its constituents and the rules used to combine them. But, unfortunately, compositionality doesn't always work.
Now let's consider implicatures. Consider the phrase, "I'm hungry." What does that imply? Depending on the context, there could be two different possible meanings for what this implies. The first would come from those who are of middle socioeconomic class, implying that they want to go for lunch. While the second could come from a homeless man with the implicature meaning of asking for money. Therefore, the literal meanings or definitions of the words in the phrases do not apply to implicatures. In other words, compositionality fails to explain implicatures. Think about a robot. Do you think they would understand the meanings behind the implicature? Because they would only know definitions about each word in the phrase, "I am hungry," they would not be able to process implicature meanings because implicature phrases and sentences would sound confusing or unrelated to their literal meanings and conceptual understandings. Therefore, robots can process compositionality, but cannot process implicatures.
When it comes to idioms, we can interpret two meanings. The first meaning being the speaker meaning, which is what the speaker is trying to get across, and the second meaning is the actual meaning, which is the literal meaning of the sentence. Compositionality tells us the actual meaning, but is unable to tell us the speaker meaning. Therefore, compositionality fails to tell us the meaning of idioms.
Hey man, those are my notes. Can you line the floor for the linguistics video?
Over my dead body.
Okay.
That'll be an arm away.
Overall, this simple model of compositionality does two important things. First, it is able to determine how a sentence gets a meaning. Second, it is able to partially explain how productivity works as seen when expanding the simple sentence to the more complex sentence.